Hello everyone, Data Report here for datareport.info with the Sunday Climate Discussion. Taking a look at the National Hazards Map, you can see the eastern portions of the country and the southern portions of the country are relatively quiet. We do have winter weather advisories up from North Dakota, Minnesota, and northwest Wisconsin, where some snow is expected Monday afternoon and Monday night. Winter storm watches are up for Montana, Idaho, and Utah as multiple periods of winter weather are expected. In Hawaii, there is a flood watch that's up, and even winter storm warnings for the higher elevation, where some snow and even a little bit of ice are expected. Taking a look at the national satellite picture, you can see we have a weak disturbance here over the Great Lakes, and we also have a system coming out of Mexico into Texas. Both systems are not really going to produce much. You can see there's a lot of clouds in the Pacific Northwest and up in Canada. In Canada, a Alberta Clipper is going to come down, and that will be what provides the snow for North Dakota, Minnesota, and northwest Wisconsin. Taking a look at radar, here's our weak system over the Great Lakes, not expected to produce more than a couple rain or snow showers in New England. And here's our weak system coming out of Texas. We actually do have two weather records to talk about. First, a record high temperature was set on February 16th at 10:01 a.m. in Boston, Massachusetts, where the thermometer hit 61 degrees and beating a record set 113 years ago in 1910. In Colorado, we actually have a record low temperature. According to the National Weather Service, the temperature hit negative 24 degrees in Alamosa on February 17th, beating a daily low temperature record of negative 18 that stood since 1939. All right, let's talk about the January climate summary, since that is now in, thanks to the National Weather Service and the National Oceanic and Atmosphere Administration. First off, in North America, it had its fifth warmest January on record. In the continental United States, it had its sixth warmest January on record. The Arctic sea ice extent this January saw the third smallest amount on record. Central Europe had a mild and wet January. A number of countries in the region reported above average rainfall for January. In New Zealand, Auckland, New Zealand recorded its wettest month on record since 1853. Africa had its sixth warmest January on record. South America had a top 20 warmest January on record. And over in Hawaii, the Hawaii region tied 1941 for its warmest January on record. Taking a look at the drought map, you can see the eastern United States, other than a few isolated areas, is doing relatively well at this time. The central U.S. from Texas all the way up to North Dakota is still in a moderate to severe drought, especially in Oklahoma, Kansas, and Nebraska. The western U.S. is in moderate drought conditions at this time. Taking a look at the GFS, you will see our system comes down here into North Dakota, Minnesota, and Wisconsin tonight into Tuesday, and generally the height of that system is going to be tomorrow afternoon in this region. And it does not have a lot of moisture to work with, but when I show you the temperatures, because the temperatures are so cold, you'll be able to squeeze more snow out of the moisture, and that is called ratio snow, when you squeeze as much snow as possible out of the liquid you have to work with due to colder temperatures. The colder the temperature, the higher your ratio is. Moving beyond that time period, you can see here things start to get active in Idaho, Montana, Utah, in this region, and that is simply because you have this system that comes up out of the northwest, and eventually it does spread east, and this is a long rotation event that's going to start on Tuesday, last through much of Wednesday, and even into parts of Thursday. And then we have to watch over the Great Lakes region and the Northeast, where it could in fact be a major winter storm with snow and ice, perhaps maybe over a foot of snow in northern New England. Take a look here what happens on as we go into Wednesday night into Thursday. You can see a large swath of freezing rain and sleet with heavy snow north of that in this region. Anywhere along the I-90 corridor or north of I-90 up in New York State, I would start preparing for a major winter storm out of this system, and I would prepare to possibly go nowhere on Thursday. Behind this, there's yet another system that can boost. That provides even more wintry weather, but not as much as the main system that comes out ahead of it. After that, high pressure will build in the east, and things will start to get rather quiet again there, at least for a short period of time. The west coast during this period does also see some active weather in the northwest, and California gets relatively cold this week with below average temperatures. Taking a look at the GFS total snowfall for that event, you can see here it is relatively bullish. Look at Vermont. You have amounts of up to 16 inches. It's advertising up to 20 inches in New York. I don't know if I would go that high. Remember, we are using a ratio map here. And take a look here across the plains. Yes, it is advertising very high amounts across the plains. Whether that actually verifies or not remains to be seen. And within, just south of that snow area, I should also show you this, the freezing rain map, because some places just south of where the heaviest snow falls could see some significant icing. Look across Michigan. The GFS is putting out over an inch of ice. That's probably a little bit overdone, but even if they get just a half an inch of ice, that can be crippling, cause major travel delays, and even power outages. Across New York State, areas just south of the heaviest snowfall could see up to a quarter of an inch of ice. Taking a look at the Canadian model real quickly, as you can see, there's a system that goes across the North Dakota and Minnesota tomorrow. And then here comes our big weather maker. Starts off in the northwest, and just like the GFS, it comes straight across the country, and this is actually really bullish on the snowfall for Boston, Vermont, and Maine, just like the GFS is, but it does warm up a little bit faster than what the GFS is showing for Thursday before it cools back down again and things change back to snow across the rest of the areas. So, taking a look at the longer range, as you can see, well below average temperatures are expected in the west coast, near normal in between, above average temperatures on the 6 to 10 day outlook for the southeast, and on the 8 to 14 day outlook, we're looking at near normal temperatures for New York City and back across Chicago, but the west coast, below average temperatures, and the far northeast, below average temperatures, and the south, just slightly above average temperatures for a large swath from Florida on up into the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic regions. Alrighty, thanks for watching this climate discussion. If you like the content that I do on my channel, hit the like and subscribe button down below. Stay safe, everyone, and see you again next time.